I don't think it's possible to get from a state to a stateless society. Such a thing is probably a fool's goal, and anybody who thinks that it is doesn't understand history. The way that things always turn out is that whenever some sort of organization gains control, it does whatever it possibly can to hold on to that control. It's not going to give it up easily. Something like a state does not just simply dissolve. It doesn't just wither away. Hi, my name is Aaron, and this is my show, Re-Education. So today I'm going to be talking about authoritarian communism. I know, I shouldn't be talking about other factions on the left, in fear that we might create some sort of sectarian rift that is completely unbridgeable, and we're never going to be able to get along, and we are just from thereafter fighting and killing each other. But once in a while, it is important for us to at least identify certain differences that there are between those sects. Me being an anarcho-communist and someone else being a Marxist-Leninist are going to have very, very different ideas when it comes to ideas about the state. I, as an anarcho-communist, believe in the destruction of all unnecessary or unjustified hierarchies and the worker control and ownership of the means of production, whereas somebody that's a Marxist-Leninist probably believes that centralized state hierarchy is sometimes justified so long as it's done through democratic means, and that the means of production can be owned and controlled socially so long as it's done through that hierarchy. Now, if you are a layperson to leftist theory, that probably sounded like a whole bunch of word salad. But it basically means that I believe that people should have 100% bodily autonomy and freedom. I think that everybody should be able to do whatever they want to do so long as it doesn't infringe on the rights and freedoms of anybody else. It's really quite simple. Instead of somebody at the top, like a king, a president, a leader, a boss, being the one that tells you what to do, you tell yourself what to do. You as an individual make the rules for yourself. And a group of individuals together make decisions for that community. And those communities together make decisions as a cluster for that entire area. And that entire area gets together with other areas and works as a federation to make decisions for the entire country. It's a wonderful way of doing things. Like I said before, who better to make the decisions in an area than the people that know that area best? The people that are professionals in that industry, the people that are experts in that field. Most anarchists define a state as a centralized governing force that's able to dictate to the entire population similar to a king. It has a monopoly on force. And of course, anarchists don't agree with this form of government. It doesn't mean that we don't believe that any kind of government shouldn't exist. We just don't think that there should be a centralized one. Anarchists believe that no matter how righteous or just you think that a centralized authority can be, inevitably that centralized authority, so long as it is given power, is going to do everything it possibly can to hold on to that power. History has shown that the withering away of the state does not work. It's completely absurd. Such an idea just simply pacifizes the people and allows them to accept dictatorial control so long as they hope and pray that in the future they might someday get to be free. But they never will get to be free, because when an authority is granted power, it will do everything it can to hold on to that power. That's why anarchists believe that we shouldn't have any permanent governmental authority. Such a thing is inevitably going to just try to take control again. And it is our job, it is our goal to forever fight that kind of tyranny. The price for freedom is eternal vigilance. And what's the other option? Thinking that somehow a state is going to allow us to eventually gain control of our own lives? That's never going to happen. And even if it could, when would it happen? When exactly do we expect that they're going to pass on that ability to the rest of the people? When will they think that we are ready to finally run ourselves? When we're finally able to have autonomy and control our own lives? When do we have that time? When do they make that decision? When will this organization of control finally decide that we've reached the point that we are ready for it to finally wither itself away? After we've taken control of a city, a state, a country, No, none of those would be enough because we would inevitably still be being attacked by capitalists all over the world. So we couldn't just take over a country or even a few countries before we could have the state wither away. We would need that state to control the military. I mean, there's no way to have a military without a centralized state. So we would have to have that state until when? The entire world became class conscious? Once the entire globe was finally communist? Then we could wither away the state? Then the state would no longer be necessary and we could get rid of it? It seems like that's really playing the long game to me, and it seems to me like that day might just never come. The truth is that the state isn't something that just withers away. It's something that has to be overthrown. It doesn't just relinquish its power over the people. It's something that we have to work at dismantling and completely converting and inverting into something that actually functions properly. Because right now, this hierarchical formation that we have just doesn't work. We shouldn't be trying to replace one oppressive regime for another regime that we think is going to be just slightly less oppressive. We need to have no oppressive regime at all. That's the way out of this. When we got rid of the king, we didn't just replace him with a queen and go on with business as usual. We got rid of the king, full stop, which is exactly what we need to do with the state. It needs to be gotten rid of, full stop. Like I said a moment ago, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. It's something that we're going to have to fight for every day for the rest of eternity if we wish to be free. If we don't, someone will come along and take that freedom away from us. At least that's the way I look at it. My name is Aaron. If you do get a chance, please check out my Patreon. Every dollar does help fund this show, and thanks for watching.